start in Latin America, where their first international trip together, the Cuban Five will visit Venezuela on Monday. Diplomatic sources in Caracas confirmed today. The group were imprisoned in 1998 in the U.S. because they informed Cuba about terrorist actions planned for Miami. The group is expected to visit 6 Venezuelan states starting in Caracas and will also pay homage to the late President Hugo Chavez. Despite 6 police officers being charged in the death of Freddie Gray and ongoing peaceful marches in Baltimore and around the United States, a curfew is still being enforced, and 30 people protesting police brutality and racism were arrested overnight in Baltimore. Dozens of police cars followed the protesters on their route, eventually rounding them up in an alley. Police also pepper sprayed an unarmed protester at near point-blank range. The curfew was to be in effect until Tuesday, but this morning Baltimore mayor lifted it, saying it was no longer necessary.
Over 100 Caribbean computer network experts are meeting in St. Lucia, determined to address technology challenges. The gathering is organized by the Caribbean Network Operators Group Caribnog, a volunteer organization. Members say the region is particularly vulnerable to cyber attacks and must take quick, decisive action to build its technology and response capacity.
As we have more and more devices connected to the global internet, I think everywhere hackers and those who look into to basically intrude and steal data and so on are looking everywhere. The situation in the Caribbean is that we've probably been a little bit slow in terms of not really awareness, because the awareness in there, but our response and implementation of the necessary structures and policies and practices to make sure that we are protected against these things.
The English-speaking Caribbean is not tackling the issues alone. With the assistance of the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN, the organization is partnering with Latin American nations to stage an event to deal with issues of cybersecurity.
The roadshow aims at building capacity in areas related to securing critical internet infrastructure. We are looking at technical things like something called DNSSEC to make communication between the user and maybe your bank or financial institutions more secure. We're looking, as I mentioned, at the new GTLD program, and we're looking at several areas which the community felt would be of importance. So this is one of the very important projects of the Latin American Caribbean strategy.
Participants at the forum say the goal is to protect networks across the Caribbean against mounting cyber threats and to keep pace with technology change. Alison Kentish, Telesur, St. Lucia.
Muhjat al-Quds Palestinian Prisoners Institution held an event in central Gaza City on Sunday in solidarity with Palestinian prisoners being held in Israeli prisons. Dozens of protesters from several Palestinian factions joined the rally that began at the headquarters of the Red Cross and ended in Adabit Square, where members from the institution expressed their solidarity with the exiled prisoners on hunger strike, and a further estimated 6,500 Palestinian prisoners being held by Israeli occupation forces.
I was sentenced to 4 life sentences but spent 21 years in prison and then got out, thanks to God and the resistance. I was freed in a swap deal. Palestinian prisoners are suffering from the oppression of the Israeli jailer and the pain from disease. There are more than 6,500 prisoners being held in Israeli jails, including more than 1,500 prisoners who are suffering from different diseases. The prisoners are forgotten and the world doesn't remember them. We should give them more attention. So I asked the Palestinian leadership and government to put the issue of Palestine prisoners among their priorities.
Telesur met with Ibrahim Baroud, who is an ex-detainee who was freed 2 years ago in the second part of Shalit's swap deal after he spent 28 years in Israeli jails. Baroud called on the international community and the Red Cross to take action and stop the illegal Israeli prison policies against Palestinian prisoners.
I am here today to stand and show solidarity with the sick prisoners who suffer so much because of negligence and failure to provide proper treatment, and also the lack of medical care and medicine. Both the international community and the International Committee of the Red Cross should step up and help the Palestinian prisoners who have been suffering for years.
Many Palestinian prisoners who have been exiled to Gaza also participated in the protest, calling on Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to intervene in the issue and start working on a deal in which they would be able to return to their hometowns in the West Bank. Noha Razin, Telesu TV, Gaza.
Sana'a residents in Yemen are facing long lines at water dispensaries, bakeries, and fuel stations, the latest sign of a deteriorating humanitarian crisis in the country after weeks of Saudi-led airstrikes. Fuel and electricity access are also increasingly difficult, seeing residents plunging into poverty. So far, over 1,000 Yemenis have been killed in airstrikes, the majority civilians, including over 100 children.
Zero gas and petrol and diesel and flour and water. All we have left is air, and we're going to suffocate.
Nearly 3,700 migrants were rescued from boats near the coast of Libya on Saturday and early today. Italy coordinated the rescue efforts mounted by a total of 13 vessels. Italy's Navy, Coast Guard, and Finance Police were involved, as was a French ship acting on the behalf of the European Border Control Agency. The rescue followed the drowning of 900 migrants last month in the Mediterranean, causing European leaders to finally be alarmed by the situation. And we end today's show in Mexico with a May Day celebration with a twist. In Otumba, donkeys are given royal treatment for a day with a festival dedicated to the hard-working animal. Races, games, and parades are held in honor of the animal. The origins of Mexico's Donkey Festival are said to be tracked some 60 years ago, when Otumba residents who relied heavily on the donkey decided they deserved their own day of honor.
Facts that have marked the course of history. Productions designed in the English language and made for the English-speaking world. This is Documentary. Watch it on telesur.net/English. Telesur, wherever the news, you'll be there.